$49. And don't forget your air ducts. You can get $75 off any air duct cleaning this month. Call Zero Res at 952-ZERO-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com to schedule your appointment today. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res. And when nothing but new will do, nobody knows floors better than Zero Res. Save on top Mohawk brands. Go to zfloors.com to learn more or call 952-ZERO-RES and set up a free in-home consultation. Z Floors by Zero Res.
Magus Books, your multicultural spiritual supply store. Stop in and expand your horizons with books, classes, readings, and supplies at magusbooks.com or in our shop at 1848 Central Avenue Northeast in Minneapolis. From the best incense to beautiful statues, we have supplies and books for your spiritual explorations. Come in and chat with our knowledgeable staff and get what you need for your next adventure, whether you're fighting ghosts or opening your third eye. Check us out today at magusbooks.com.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Skies clear out tonight with a low of 35, then Thursday clouding over again with a high of 49. Hell is empty and all the devils are here again offers a much-needed communal laugh and is in the spirit of radical inclusion. Performances are at the Luminary Arts Center in Minneapolis now until November 18th. Get your tickets at interactcenterarts.org.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host, guest, random reptoid, or chupacabra may not necessarily reflect those of AM 950 Radio, its affiliates, or its sponsors. Now, it's time to step into the unknown. There are things people experience but never talk about. A shadow moving in the corner, flickering of the lights, a disembodied voice. We invite you to talk with us. Share your story, share your experience, because this isn't just your story. This is our story. This is GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun.
And this is GhostBox Radio on AM 950, where every night we talk about the paranormal, ufology, Bigfoot, and so much more. My name is Greg Bakun. Thank you very much for joining me tonight on this wonderful Wednesday evening in November. It's always fantastic. No rain tonight, at least. No thunder or lightning, unlike last night as well. So that's always good as well. Now, I'm getting the show together for the month, and being November, one of the big stories that I do want to do some programs on is the conspiracy of the assassination of JFK. That's going to be the 60th anniversary this year of that. And I have guests lined up for Thanksgiving, because it falls, well, actually the day before Thanksgiving, it falls November 22nd. If there's anything else you all want me to kind of explore within that topic, I'd be very interested to find out what that could be. Go ahead, put it into the comments over in the chat over at GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun on Facebook, or you can send me an email, comment at ghostboxradio.com. I'd be very curious to know, because we're going to take a different approach to it this year. But seeing it's the 60th anniversary, we're definitely going to do that. And then the next day is another milestone for those of you who do not know. And I would guess the majority of you listening will not really know this. November 23rd is also the 60th anniversary of the start of Doctor Who, one of my very favorite programs, and we'll be doing a special on that as well. So lots of good stuff looking forward. And as always, folks, if there's something that you want me to cover, just send me a note. If you're friends with me on Facebook, go ahead, send me a note. You can also send it once again to comment at ghostboxradio.com. Whatever you all want to say, very happy to listen and consider, because there's a lot of great topics out there, and we're going to really be exploring some different things this month as well as next month. But what we have going on today, I'm going to bring on a very good friend of mine. You may have heard her on such programs as this one. And once again, as always, it's fantastic to speak with the owner of Charvinity, as well as the owner of Metamorphosis Connections, Miss Char Savoie, welcome to GhostBox Radio.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me again.
Oh my gosh, thank you very much for joining. And if anyone has questions on our topic tonight, and I got to first maybe tell you what the topic is. Perhaps that's the better way of going about it. One of the things that we're going to be talking about tonight is something that's very passionate to both Char and myself, and that is bridging what we're calling bridging the gap between paranormal, what we consider paranormal, and what we consider metaphysical. And Char, do you mind if I kind of frame this up a little bit as far as why we like to talk about this?
No, go right ahead.
So I think one of the things that has been on our minds, and I can only imagine in particular for Char, who is a medium and is very gifted at it. For me, when I got into this field, a billion years ago, it seemed like that we had a lot of paranormal teams who looked at mediums as kind of like, oh yeah, they can come along, but I don't know if we're really going to listen to what they have to say. There really seemed to be, Char, in my view, no value to having a psychic medium or a medium of any kind along on any sort of paranormal investigation. It almost seemed like that having them along would kind of damper the investigation. And as a young investigator, or at least an investigator that's not been in it for too terribly long, I'm seeing this at conventions. I'm seeing this in like paranormal groups who are speaking like on stage at these paranormal conventions, like the ones in Mononan. And it just, even young, without knowing anything about anything, it was really disheartening to hear, because it was like, why would you do that? And there just seemed to be kind of almost this wall. And on the other side, I had also seen that a lot of psychic mediums, they knew that there are paranormal investigations and stuff, but they knew nothing about how that side worked as well. And I don't know, I mean, because you had been a part of a team for a while at the time that I was getting into it and stuff. Am I on the right track with what I'm saying there?
Absolutely. It was really bewildering to me as well, and I didn't quite understand why there was such a divide. And starting off as a paranormal investigator, seeing that, and it was like, well, it makes sense. I mean, if they have some insight. I mean, it's a team thing. Use all your resources.
Mm-hmm.
We should use our intuition just every day in general, right? Why not use it on an investigation? And then getting into the metaphysical realm, then people are like, oh, why are you doing the paranormal? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I could never understand the difference of why there was such a gap, because a spirit is a spirit. It's just geography.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the metaphysical side, the mediumship side of reaching out to spirit always seemed to be like, oh, this is beautiful and loving and uplifting. Mm-hmm. And the way that people looked at paranormal is like, well, when we say paranormal and the spirits are trying to get with paranormal are going to be the cranky ones, or the ones that want to yell at us to get out, and that they're more negative. That's the way that it always felt to me.
Right. And in my brain, being in the metaphysical world, I'm like, if there's spirits that need help, or trapped, or lost, or stuck, or are angry, or what, in the metaphysical world, we're supposed to be helping people. Wouldn't those be the ones that we should be going to first? Because it seems like they need help. So it just never made sense to me. And people just looked at me like I had two heads. And I'm like, I don't understand why there's a gap in here.
Yeah. No. And I remember very clearly one of my first Mononan Paracons, for those who remember those in Minnesota, they were a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. But I remember there was a Minnesota team that spoke, and they're still around. And they, someone asked them, "What do you think of a medium being a part of the team?" And one of the guys, he's like, "I'll take this," and he's just like, "We just like, if we need them, we'll call them in, or if they want to, just stand in the background. If we need them, we'll ask them their opinion or something." Very. I don't think he meant it to be as insulting as it was, but It
Yeah.
really was a highlight, like shining a light on something that was very much missing in our community.
Right. Well, and I think that's partly. I think when I first started out, and when me and you both started out, it was really scientific. It was all
Yeah.
about the science and the gadgets, and there wasn't a lot of thought about it. But as time going on, and you started seeing them being involved in the shows and stuff, it just made sense. And
Yeah.
it's not to say that a medium is going to solve everything. And I think
No.
sometimes people have that fear, like if a medium comes in, then they take the limelight away from what I'm doing. And that's
Yeah.
not what it's supposed to be either. It's supposed to be a group thing. Because quite honestly, part of the thing is you can have 5 mediums on an investigation, and it's very possible that all 5 mediums could connect to 5 different spirits. And 5 people with equipment could connect to 5 other spirits. So we could all be talking to somebody completely different. So it doesn't mean what I get is what the whole investigation is about. I'm just picking up pieces of it, just like a K2 meter would.
And it doesn't mean that you're going to pick up the stuff that any team may hope that you pick up, because that doesn't, because I think that's another layer, that it doesn't
Right.
necessarily mean that, oh, we want to come in here to figure out this. Well, maybe that spirit doesn't want to talk to anybody, including Char.
Absolutely.
And that Char is picking up someone else who's like, oh, thank goodness there's someone here that can hear me and understand me.
Absolutely.
And I find that interesting too, because one of the things that I run into, and especially did when I got into it, was it. I think it's the same sort of thing with mediumship. It's the use of spirit box, and I understand that we're not all going to use the same pieces of equipment. We're not all going to get along with what, and I say get along in the sense like we're all going to be cohesive with the stuff
Mhm.
we want to do. But boy, there was such a bias to it in the Twin Cities community, which is whatever. But it was very much like with the mediumship stuff of just being like, this is, we have a bias, and I do think it's a bias. I mean, it changed, and it's unfortunate that it took a TV shows, which I mean, thankfully they did eventually, but they couldn't come to that on their own. And this is
Right.
that's a very general statement, by the way, folks. I'm being very general. Please don't be offended if you're like, well, no, I did the whole time. We understand, but there's a lot of people, I think, to Char's point, that it's like, well, okay, we see Amy Allen, we see, Patty Negri, we see all stuff. Okay, we're starting to see the value in it. We're going to go ahead and we're also going to try that out now too. It's a shame they couldn't
Right.
get to that on their own.
Right. Exactly. And it just, I don't know. I think it's everybody has a place in the investigation. Everybody has something to bring to the investigation, no matter what it is that you're doing, what equipment you're using, intuition, whatever. You're all there to be a part of it. And I think that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be a part of a team, or we're all
Yeah.
supposed to make it work. It's just like any kind of company. You need all the different players in the company to make it work. It's just, and to having those variety and those different abilities and things coming together is what makes a better investigation.
Yeah, very much so. And also, I think it's also fair to say, there's teams that don't want to bring in mediums.
Mhm.
That is their position, just as if they don't want to bring in a spirit box or whatever else. I understand all that. But if they're going to make a comment about it, and they're going
Yeah.
to have more of a, even if it's unintentional, a derogatory comment, and I think there is some truth to that. When you said, Char, that when we got into it, it's very scientific based. And I think that chasm, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but that chasm has only grown to a certain degree, because there
Right.
are people who, don't want to have mediums in their team. They want to look at it more scientific, which is totally fine. And then
Absolutely.
I also really find too interesting that within that scientific side of it, like if you listen to like Joe Frankie, who is the one of the chairman for the Warren Legacy Foundation, and he's going to be with us, Ghost Stories and Beyond, in December.
Mhm.
He doesn't even like the equipment. He does. I mean, he's that old school. He had investigated with the Warrens back in
Yeah.
the 80s and 90s. he doesn't even like the equipment. So
Right.
it's like it really drills down. It's pretty interesting, actually.
Yeah, and I mean, again, it's no hindrance or, but we're not trying to say anything bad about anybody. You do what works for
Yep.
you and how you want it to work. It's just, I think in a field where you're supposed to be open-minded, both in the metaphysical and the paranormal, you're supposed to be open-minded. We're not very open-minded, and so I think we just kind of be a little open-minded and allow the idea that something else might be of value. Maybe not 100% of time, maybe not all of the time, but sometimes it can be of value. And just as much as the equipment isn't always correct, a medium might not always be correct either on what they're getting that connects to everything. So there is nothing out there that is 100%, but why not put all the things in one place to see how much results you can get and how much can be cohesive and come together?
Absolutely. And if you don't feel like it's working, this is where we talk about teamwork and being a team, where you should be approaching it objectively.
Right.
And that's what all we could really hope for, because if you don't approach it objectively, then you're doing everyone a disservice.
Absolutely, including the spirits and your clients.
Oh yeah, absolutely there too. And I think that the thing that I don't think it's being missed out so much now, but certainly back in the day, is the whole validation factor of, especially if you have a medium who's doing stuff and you have some equipment, and if one could validate the other,
Right.
that's always fun. And I've never known any psychic mediums to not like that. Everyone wants their work to be validated. Everyone hopes for that.
Right. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think that's just human nature. We all want to be validated, and same with the spirits. They want to be validated as well. And why not give them every opportunity to do so, no matter what it is? I mean, sometimes I think about all the equipment, and it's great and it's fun, but some of these spirits are like, I have no idea what this is. What's a battery? What's a flashlight? What's this? What's that? And so when they just want to have a basic conversation, because that's how they communicated, because they didn't have electronics.
Yep.
Why not?
Absolutely. This is what I'd like to do. Why don't we go ahead? Let's take our first break. There's been people who've been putting stuff into the comments. Let's read some of that when we get back. If you have any questions or comments, please add them in as well. We're talking with Char Savoie. We're talking about bridging the gap. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950.
Reach your highest level of consciousness and well-being with MetamorphosisConnections.com. MetamorphosisConnections.com is an online directory of the best holistic and metaphysical practitioners to help you make your most informed choices. You can search MetamorphosisConnections.com for classes, events, wellness and life coaches, plus metaphysical products and shops. You can also search for a wide array of healers from all modalities, including EFT, sound healing, energy healing, light therapy, ancestral healing, shamanic healing, reflexology, past life regressions, hypnotherapy, yoga, and more. And if you're not sure where to start, the search feature on MetamorphosisConnections.com is tailored to help both those who know what they are looking for and those who are just starting. Come explore the possibilities for your higher self by visiting MetamorphosisConnections.com. Their experienced practitioners can guide both beginners and those that are already on their spiritual journey. That's MetamorphosisConnection.com, your link to direct you on your spiritual transformation.
Hello, I'm Jody, also known as Witch Jody on social media. I opened Midwest Witchery and Healing in historic Stillwater because as a nurse, I love to help others. When you come and visit Midwest Witchery and Healing, you will find everything from divination and magical services, classes to ritual tools, jewelries, handcrafted candles, witchy gear, and much more. My store is a safe environment for all on their own unique path. Look for the purple door. Find out more at MidwestWitcheryHealing.com.
It's time to experience the amazing flavors of EatLocalMinnesota.com. It's your key to unlocking the best local and independently owned restaurants in the Twin Cities. Latunji's Palette is celebrating over 5 years in business. At Latunji's Palette, you'll feel the connection of food and community. Located at 1400 Park Avenue South, you'll find a delicious selection of gourmet pastries, sandwiches, and drinks. Plus, look for their famous peach cobbler and other gourmet goodies at Eastside Food Co-op, Hy-Vee, Lunds and Byerly's, North Market, and more. Built with purpose, fortified with love. That's Latunji's Palette. If you're craving barbecue, then don't drive too fast or you will miss Scott Jamama's Hot Barbecue, located at 3 West Diamond Lake Road in Minneapolis. Scott Jamama's offers mouth-watering baby back ribs, grilled chicken, and half-pound pulled pork sandwiches. The potato salad, spicy baked beans, and twice-baked potatoes should not be missed. More details at scottjamamas.com.
And welcome back to GhostBox Radio on AM 950. My name is Greg Bakun. We are talking about bridging the gap between the paranormal and metaphysical. And I have with me tonight the very wonderful Char Savoie, who is the owner of Charvinity, as well as the owner for Metamorphosis Connections. And we're going to be talking about those two companies here in the program. One of the things I want to do, Char, if that works for you, is I'm going to go through some of these comments in the comment section,
Sure.
because I think it's really interesting. Now, folks, if you're listening on the radio, know that we do a live video stream on both AM 950 Radio as well as GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun, both on Facebook, and so we have folks watching those streams and they're putting comments in. And know that a lot of the people who are watching, who are commenting, are people who are in our field, who do all these types of work. So, and one of the first things that I see is Joshua has left a lot of comments in here. And I think, Joshua clearly has experienced a lot of what we're talking about. And I also think, and Joshua, I don't mean to make guesswork, but I have a feeling it's outside of the paranormal as well, trying to feel connected, trying to feel accepted. And that's a whole other different can of worms, isn't it, Char?
Yeah, it sure is. I mean, it's tough. It's a tough little world to live in sometimes.
Especially when you know what you know what you feel.
Right.
And I mean, and once again, I'm not saying in the paranormal field, I'm saying just in life, trying to, where people are looking at what you're doing and they think, and I don't think I'm too far from even saying it, even jokingly, like it's witchcraft. It's like bad witchcraft. We just had a spot for Witch Jody. She's a good witch, she's a white witch, but people still look at it as like, what are you picking up? What do you mean? It's just, I can't imagine.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, I get some weird looks, especially when I meet somebody for the first time, like, well, what do you do? And I'm like, it's like, I'm afraid to say it sometimes. I'm like, okay, well, here we go.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Going through some of the comments here. Let's see here. A lot of Joshua, which Joshua, keep them coming. That's totally good. I mean, especially if you're if you're feeling good about putting that out there, because sometimes just even writing it out and having people, understand, like Joshua says, one of them, my spirit work shouldn't be diminished because I received the information differently. I mean, right, Char?
Absolutely, 100%. And I always want to say, no matter where I am, it's a safe space to be able to talk about that. So please, anybody else that wants to mention anything, you're safe with me to say it.
Yeah, well, and this show is always a safe. I mean, we are not going to, in the show in general, we just can't. We're not going to knock anybody because we're talking about stuff that people are just, that it's uncomfortable for some people. I mean, we're on a political station here, but we're not talking about politics. We're talking about stuff that people that they come to terms with death. They come to terms with what happens after that. And that's not a subject a lot of people are totally interested in, even with the breakthroughs we've had over the years.
Right, absolutely. I mean, oddly enough, I've been extremely terrified of death my whole entire life, and I'm a medium, so explain that one. But it's
Right.
always, it's a weird place. Everybody's in a weird place with different things, and it's hard to kind of live that authentic yourself when you have gifts and intuitive things happening, or even just to say you're into the paranormal in
Yeah.
general, so it is kind of an awkward little thing to just shout it out to the world.
I firmly believe that I lost my last job because the overall boss did not like the idea of the paranormal in general.
I've had
Um,
similar things happen
yep,
as well.
yep, and that's just but I am not going to not mention it. I'm not going to hide that fact. That's who I am. This
Right.
is what I'm about. And if people don't, well, first of all, I can't hide the fact. I'm doing a radio show 5 nights a week,
Right.
broadcasting to 100,000 people in Minneapolis and St. Paul. So it's kind of hard to hide that.
A
Um,
little bit.
unless I,
You just need the
unless
billboards now.
that, or do I just go under a different name? Like I'm Starseed. Listen to Starseed every night. I mean, I didn't do the whole name.
I'm not, nope. I'm not even gonna say a comment on that one.
Starseed at 10.
Right.
Leanne says, bring the right energy together, you'll get results.
Absolutely.
Very, very much so. Very much so. Leanne also says, it's always uncomfortable being vulnerable. Joshua agrees it's uncomfortable, and that's kind of, it's a hard call, isn't it? In terms of how much do you put yourself out there? But also at the same time, Char, wouldn't you also agree that maybe, you got, if you want people to know about, you kind of have to wear the badge of honor, the ribbon, regardless of, that it's not always going to be as receptive as we would like it to be.
Absolutely. You just have to do it. Be yourself. And I guess with anything else, I mean, you have to feel out where you're at, who you're with, and what's going
Yeah.
on. Sometimes there's just in life, there's certain people that you just don't have certain conversations with, and then you just pick and choose who you can have those conversations with, and it'd be nice if you could say it to anybody, but I think if you can just have that support system of the people that really truly honor you for who you are, that makes a world of difference.
I remember one of my first interviews that I did, and I don't even know how I got into this, because it was I think it was like on Craigslist, and someone in town here is doing a podcast, and they're like, we're looking for interesting people to interview. And so this was so many years ago. And I sent them a note. I'm like, I'm a paranormal investigator. If you want to talk to somebody like that, then I can do this. And they're like, sure. And we get on the program. And like I said, from the start, I'm all about, including everybody. And, we're talking about investigations and stuff. And he then says, what I can't stand? I said, what's that? He goes, psychic mediums. I'm like, oh my God. And he's just like, yeah, I mean, none of that is possibly real. They can't tell me and it's one of those stupid things that people say who don't believe at all, where they're like, well, they got like the ones who get in a car accident, they didn't know that was coming, that sort of stupidness. I don't mind people not believing, but when you're rude about it and when you clearly don't understand it, that's a completely ball whack. And I'm just sitting there mortified, like I don't even know what to say anymore, And then he's like,
Yeah.
don't you think that that's fake? And I'm like, I don't actually, it was very, very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think there's a misconception on what people think psychic is. I mean, it's not, we don't walk around knowing the answers to the universe. I mean, if that was the case, we'd all be like somewhere else,
Yeah.
but I mean, we don't tap in 24/7. We do it with intention, and we read energy. We read the current energy of a person or a situation or a place, and that energy can shift. Like you could come in for a reading with me and I could tell you what's going on and I could give you my interpretation of that energy. And when you walk out of my office, you can go right or you can go left, and which way you go can totally change the trajectory of what I just saw. So anytime anybody gets a reading from a psychic medium or anything, know that you have the ability to shift and change that at any point in time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, I just don't even know what to say about those other people. And that's the thing too, is that you don't you don't know everything, like when you don't read your close friends and stuff, because you
Right.
get too close. And I think, wouldn't you say that, universe, spirit, they don't want us to know everything anyway, that there are
I don't want to know anything. I don't want to know everything.
Yeah.
I know too much already. Just in general,
Right.
being a human, I don't need to know more than I know. And I get that there's a part of people that don't get it, don't understand it, and there's people that are afraid of it, just like the paranormal. I get that. There's a classic Facebook post that I put out like 2 years before I got into the paranormal. It's like, I've never had a psychic tell me something that was meaningful. I'm not sure. I'm not. It's like I don't believe. Not that I don't believe they're there, but I'm really skeptical or something. And then, literally within a couple of years, here I am working at a haunted location, and everything cracks wide open. It was like the universe said, "Oh, here, hold my beer.
Yeah.
Let's
We'll
show her."
you. Yeah, we'll show
Right.
you.
And I laugh every time that comes up. I'm like, yeah, I was just terrified of it. I was nervous of it because I didn't understand it.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And my favorite, and I've seen it a couple times at these fairs and stuff, and someone will sit down at a medium's table and they'll be like, when am I going to die? And if it were me, I would have been like, well, what time is it now? Just let's see. I hope you don't have any plans tonight. Let's put it that way. Just like really,
Right.
really mess with it. It's just, I think, is one of the worst questions ever. I think that's the worst question for a psychic medium. And I think the worst question you can ask on a paranormal investigation, and Char, you know what I'm going to say, is,
Do you want us to leave?
do you want us to leave? The first question
Mhm.
out of the gate, after you spend hours setting up, like, would you like us to leave? Yes. Oh, well, okay, let's pack it up,
Right. Yeah, no, those are not great questions.
What do you do when someone asks that?
I just tell them that I don't go down that road. I will not tell anybody that information, nor do I have the ability to figure it out. I don't
Yeah.
want to figure it out.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And it's a shame. And I think that to kind of get a little bit more back on our track about bridging the gap as well, that it just takes a little bit more understanding from either side, because like you said
Mhm.
at the top of the program, it's the same.
Yeah,
There's
it
no
is.
difference.
No, there isn't. I don't do anything. When you come to my office for a mediumship reading and I connect with grandma or somebody else, I'm doing it by just sitting with you. When I go to a location, I do the exact same thing. I don't do anything different. I don't dress different. I'm just the same person doing the same thing, tapping in the same way. It just, there's nothing different. A spirit is a spirit.
Well, you do have the medium crown.
Oh, my
I mean,
little turban and my
Yeah,
cape
your
and
turban, your crystal
my
ball.
S for super psychic. I don't know. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
And it's the same for me when I was doing the Facebook Lives. How I reach out to spirit and helping people reach out to their grandma is no
Right.
different than me going to a location or going to Velisca and seeing if we can get any communication from there.
Well,
So,
there you just bring extra pants.
yeah, right. Or at least the right color ones so they don't stand out.
Right.
So yeah. So as we're moving on here, one of the things that we do as well, because we get a lot of people who want to understand what we're talking about a little bit better, but they're also, you get it, I get it quite a bit of people like who they find out what we do And what the
Mhm.
first thing that they always say is, how can I do this? How can I get it? I'd like to do this too. I don't even know what to do. Char and I have been for over 2 years now, have been doing classes where it's where we do just that.
Yeah, it's been an amazing journey. Um, Sharing all that information with people, and I love to teach. I mean, it's just something I love to do, and so it's one of those things where we thought, let's share this information with other people. And we kind of sat down and thought about all of the things we've learned over the several years that we've been doing this, which I think we've added up, it's almost 30 years between the both of us.
Yeah.
And how we've evolved from when we started to where we are now, as far as equipment, as far as our intuition, our tapping in, all of those things. When I started, nobody ever told me to ground myself or clear myself. I didn't know what sage was. I didn't know what any of that stuff was. And so we took all this information, everything we wish we would have known, everything that we have learned, added some stuff into it, and we teach this whole series of classes to show you exactly what it is like to do an investigation with the equipment, with your intuition, being safe, being protected, watching out for your teammates, research, how to clip evidence, how to do everything from A to Z. And then we take you somewhere and let you do it. I mean, how good is that?
Right, exactly. The class is called Paranormal Dimensions and the Supernatural. Our next session starts, which is what, our 11th session or something like that?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, starts on Monday, this coming Monday. And
Yes.
we do just, I mean, boy, I hate it. I hate things that sound like sales pitches. I really do, but we do get people asking for it. And our
Yeah.
next class is starting on Monday.
Yeah, it's an amazing class, and the cool part about it is I love when we take people somewhere for the weekend, not just an hour investigation. You go for the whole
Yep.
weekend.
Yep.
And so, we've seen people just totally evolve. They found what really makes them happy. They've had paranormal experiences their whole life, had nobody to feel safe with it. Now they get to explore it. Found out they have intuitive gifts. Some people have made friends that are just like they're going to be lifelong friends with
Yes.
us and with each other. We have a private group for everybody that's taken the class for ongoing communication, sharing the evidence that you get. And every time we go back for another investigation with the next group of students, as long as there's space, we keep inviting everybody back. So it's not just a one and done. You get the opportunity to go back several times throughout the time. We've had some people who've done 5 or 6 investigations already.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's amazing is, you see the development of these wonderful people in the class, because there
Mhm.
are exercises that everyone does that also helps them tap into themselves, as
Yeah.
well as on these locations. And if this is something that interests you, both the paranormal and the metaphysical, and how they work together, and how we can help work it together, this is why this is so interesting, because it's very comprehensive. It's a 6-week course.
Yeah, and it's I don't know how we could take all that and cram it into an hour to 2 hours. There's so much information that is so important to know. I would feel really horrible to just say, "Here's a piece of equipment. This is how you use it. Go." Like, there's so
Yeah.
much more to know than that. Like, you have to take care of yourself and the safety and all that other stuff. And why not tap into your intuition? Everybody has it. And even if maybe you don't come in there being a psychic medium, but you're like, you know what? I feel like this room might be the place to investigate. That's using your intuition.
Yep.
That's a really good tool to have. And so I just feel like there's so much to know. It'd be a disservice to not do it this way.
Right. And we didn't have people like this when we started.
Mm-mm, not at all.
You know?
I more or less came into people who had asked questions and they didn't want to give me the answers.
Yeah.
We're giving all the answers, plus we're sharing our evidence as examples. And there's homework, and it's not bad, but there's homework. to help you expand your mind and be open and to look at things in a different way and to kind of get your, your mindset of seeing the whole reality of what this really is.
Absolutely. And for those who are curious and checking it out, go to charvinity.com. That's CharVinity.com. And when you get there, there is a tab for events. Scroll down. You're going to find the class, which is called Paranormal Dimensions and the Supernatural. It has a very full description, a very, very full description of what the class is, what's going to happen in it. And definitely please check it out and reach out also if you have questions. What I'm going to do is we're going to take our second break here. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about the class, but also other things that interest us in the paranormal, including some new software that the Beatles used. Could that work for our evidence? You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950.
Hello, I'm Jody, also known as Witch Jody on social media. I opened Midwest Witchery and Healing in historic Stillwater because as a nurse, I love to help others. When you come and visit Midwest Witchery and Healing, you will find everything from divination and magical services, classes to ritual tools, jewelries, handcrafted candles, witchy gear, and much more. My store is a safe environment for all on their own unique path. Look for the purple door. Find out more at MidwestWitcheryHealing.com.
If you own a holistic or metaphysical business and are looking to expand, then you need to be listed on MetamorphosisConnections.com. It's a network where you can grow with like-minded practitioners and reach new clients. MetamorphosisConnections.com is an online directory you need to list yourself and your business. Our platform makes it easy for you to create listings of your products and services, and you can also choose to list your classes, events, and so much more. MetamorphosisConnections.com helps you create weekly and monthly promotional ads targeted towards your potential clients and promotes them for you via social media and newsletter. There are clients searching for your specialty right now. Let us help them find you. Start your listing today so you can share your own unique gifts and talents by finding the level of membership that best fits your needs. Let us help you reach your clients that are searching for what you do. Visit MetamorphosisConnections.com and sign up today.
Feeling like people just don't get the vibrant rainbow unicorn that is your celestial essence? Have you been wondering how you stepped into this infernal, mundane timeline full of muggles, NPCs, and toilet paper shortages? Here at Magus Books and Herbs, we get you, and are staffed with real-life unicorns just waiting to help you rediscover your shine. So come explore your magical side with books, herbs, incense classes, and more at 1848 Central Avenue Northeast in Minneapolis or online at magusbooks.com.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Skies clear out tonight with a low of 35, then Thursday clouding over again with a high of 49. Gotcha Mama's Hot Barbecue offers a huge taste of selections like baby back ribs and pulled pork sandwiches out of a little place. Gotcha Mama's is located just a block west of I-35W off of West Diamond Lake Road in South Minneapolis. Visit their website at scotchamamas.com.
I was so enlivened by Patrick's Scotch Your Mama's ad, I almost forgot to start my show. All right, so join me tomorrow on GhostBox Radio. We're going to have on Jeff Mudgett. And Jeff, if you know anything about Jeff, he knows a little bit about the serial killer H.H. Holmes. And we're going to be talking about that tomorrow. Hopefully it's just the first of many times we're going to be talking about H.H. Holmes. Very interesting conversation. It's actually going to be our first, since we've gone nightly, our first true crimes episode, and we're hoping to do more of them. So if you like it, let me know. If there's someone you want us to cover, let us know as well. I'm also thinking about finding someone to come on about the Zodiac Killer. We'll have really some light conversations coming up, as we often do on the program, which is why, Char, this is such a good conversation tonight, because it's nice to also talk about the good things as well, isn't it?
Absolutely. I'm happy to be here. I just have a question. Isn't Jeff a descendant of H.H. Holmes?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it's going to be fantastic conversation. I've talked to him years before. I think back in my KCOR days, I might have had him on, or when I was doing another program. I don't even remember the name of it. But yeah, we had him on, and it just, it's one of the topics that you can't get done in an hour by no stretch of the imagination. But, it's going to be nice to talk with him and see. Now, Lisa sent this, which was really cool, because Lisa was part of our first class. And she said it was an amazing course and an amazing experience. And I remember, and this is, one of the things that we do. And, I remember we worked with Lisa on a lot of things, and she was just bursting at the seams, Char, with gifts. It was just really obvious and pretty incredible.
Yeah, no, I love Lisa. I love you. I miss you. So I was so happy that she was in the class, and so many other people that have been in the class. It's been phenomenal to watch people just find themselves and to find these little intuitive gifts and just see them light up, and then to have an experience while we're at a location. Just there's nothing like seeing someone have their first experience.
We've also had it where we've had people join, and I don't think they completely know why they joined, and then it was revealed to them.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's incredible.
Yes, it's been so much fun. I'm so grateful, and we've had an amazing slew of people come through that class and take it, and I'm just excited to meet more people and to keep going with it.
Yeah, very much so. And our last group was pretty cool. A bunch of cool people, and they all pretty much signed up from our Dave Schrader event in August at the house.
Yep. And next weekend is their weekend investigation, and I am so excited to go with this group.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun going there, and also fun because there's a bakery with donuts, so that's pretty fun too. I mean, on those nights I don't get up till about 3 p.m., but luckily there's always people kind enough to bring me stuff. So I'll try better. So once again, folks, the class is called Paranormal Dimensions and the Supernatural. Please reach out to either Char or myself if you have any questions about it. It's a fantastic class. And once again, if you're interested in checking it out on the website, just go to charvinity.com, CHARVINITY, and go there, and there's a tab, events and classes. Just scroll down. You'll find it. It starts on Monday. You do not have to be in Minnesota to take the class. We do a hybrid of people either in class with us or connecting to us through the interweb. So
absolutely
a lot of options. Leanne says that the Anderson House was amazing. That was a great event. Wow.
It was.
Seems like it was a year ago,
Oh my God, I know, right?
It seems like it was a long time ago. And I remember just driving up, and we drove up a different way than I've ever gone before on the other side of the Mississippi, coming through the Wisconsin side. Gosh, that was a beautiful drive. Wow.
It is gorgeous drive. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Really, really fantastic. If you have a chance, check out the Anderson House, check out the Grant House, both fantastic locations. I had a thought this week, Char, and you I know, right? Like batting down the hatches.
Me. I know, right?
Well, there goes. Yep. So I'm being a big Beatles fan. They released a song last week called Now and Then. It's the last Beatles single. And they use technology called Mal technology. And basically what it is, you take like a piece of audio that has different elements in it, like especially back like early Beatles, everything is recorded in mono, meaning that they weren't separated by tracks. Everything is on, if you have a tape, it's all on one tape. It's all melded together. But here they can now, and this came out when they did the Get Back documentary on Disney Plus. Peter Jackson and his team created a software that separates all these tracks. The vocals are different, are separated from the drums, from the guitar, from the bass, everything. And I thought to myself, it's pretty cool. And I've seen a number of stuff done with that. And what's really interesting is that what if we could do that with like spirit box recordings or recordings of anything that we do for paranormal investigations? And I posted that this week, and I don't think people totally understood what I was talking about, which is fine. But the idea that you get a recording, and we get a lot of these, and say that we get a lot of spirit box, and I often find that spirits speak over each other in spirit
Right.
box session. What if I could, and I mean, mal technology is not available for plebs like us, I'm not trying to say, but if eventually we could get our hands on something like that, and that we could separate all of these
Hmm.
different voices, and what if we can pick up more of what's being said? That would be amazing.
It would be phenomenal, even for those moments when we speak over the
Exactly.
EVPs,
Yep.
or there's that underlying whispers that you don't quite get because you take it as white noise, or there is on the Halloween event, we were asking questions and the spirit box was going, and there was like an underlying full on sentence happening. I mean, like 5 or 6 words that's not normal, right? And then but we couldn't understand because there was so much other stuff coming through at the same time, and we're like, but every time we ask a question, we're getting this full on answer, but we could not figure out what it was saying because there's so much else going on.
Right, right. And I can also understand maybe some of the pitfalls with that, because you are using AI technology. And so I
Hmm.
know that you're going to get people, and I don't think it's an unreasonable comment of, well, how do we know that that is what's being said and it's not AI just trying to figure it out as
Right,
well?
right. Because AI can just make interpretations. So
Yeah.
there's that. But again, what are we doing on an investigation? We're interpreting the information that's coming through, anyways. Just like on an EVP or a spirit box, 5 people could hear something completely different.
I think that I think I would rather give it a shot than automatically being like, no,
Right,
I
right.
mean,
I
it
mean,
just,
maybe it doesn't come out correctly, but it gives like one word, or, it makes sense with what's happening, maybe not 100%, but somewhat makes sense.
yeah. And there was, like you said, last Tuesday or the Tuesday before, I guess now, there was just a lot of activity happening.
Yeah. Yeah, there was.
And that, I mean, and that is really cool. But and the thing I always feel bad about when we are able to hear something recorded, that I always feel like that it's a disservice to spirit if we're not able to understand what's being said.
Right, right.
I just
I
want to,
agree.
if they're going to speak to us, like if anyone speaks with us, the living speaks to us. You don't want to ignore them. You want to hear what they have to
Right,
say. But it's always sad when you're not able to understand it, because it just they don't realize that they need to give us more energy, or there's other spirits talking over them.
right. Absolutely, I agree. It's tough.
It is tough, and I just thought, boy, it'd be interesting. Now, I did have a number of people who, and I think they didn't understand, because I don't think that a lot of people necessarily understand this technology yet. I mean, it's
Sure.
very new. It's very new. Um, but a couple people were talking about frequencies in that post that I put together, which something that I know that you've been very interested in.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm by no means a tech guru. I can barely get my webcam to work, but like if I can think about it, if I can find somebody that has the brain to follow through with me on it, you never know.
Well, and so last night I had on Cheryl Lynn Carter, and we were talking about CE5s,
Oh,
and
sure.
she's done a number of them, and some really
Oh.
interesting things. And our friend Brad Webb, he was building something with tones, and he never
Oh,
really answered me, but it's
we've
like,
had that conversation.
yeah, like can we do something, because we still need to
Mhm.
do this.
Yes.
And Cheryl actually sent me a picture, and we're running out of time here, but Cheryl actually sent me a picture. She had mentioned last night that she had a Trifeld at one of the CE5s experiments that they did. And there's a hand over, like a hand over the Trifeld that's not
Oh.
theirs. And because she could feel it. And then they took a picture, and there is a hand over it, and she sent that to me last night, and that's pretty cool.
That is cool.
That is really, really neat. You got about a minute, Char. Anything good? I mean, there's always something good, but anything exciting going on over at Metamorphosis Connections?
There's always something going on at Metamorphosis Connections. You go over and you look at the calendar. There's a class, event, or something almost every single day on the calendar. All of our providers on there are posting stuff nonstop, and I'm so excited for all the stuff that they're doing.
There is a lot of good things going on over there. And I put in, especially if you're listening to this on the podcast, I put in all the links: Charvinity, Metamorphosis Connections. Go, please check it out, both of them. You're doing some pretty amazing things, Char. I'm very impressed.
Well, thank you. It's a lot some days, but I love what I do.
I get it. It's a lot, and it's like it's like the list keeps growing more and more, doesn't it? When you're just like, gosh, yeah, I don't know what more to do, and it's like, oh my gosh, there's all this to do before I even get to the show. So I totally understand. Once again, folks, the paranormal class we're doing starts Monday. If you want to take part, go to charvinity.com, look at events and classes. You'll find it there. Char, as always, what a fun conversation. Thank you so much for doing it with me.
Thank you so much for having me. It was good to be here.
My pleasure. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about H.H. Holmes. We're going to be talking about serial killers, a very light subject, with Jeff Mudgett. Everyone, have a great evening. We'll see you tomorrow.
Come on, you know it's true. Work is almost bearable when the Stephanie Miller Show is on. AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the Progressive